If you live in a cold weather climate, we all know that guy. That guy who has to be the absolute last person to pull his boat out at the end of every season. And a lot of times it'll always be an adventure watching them try and get this thing out as they approach the boat ramp and dock. Welcome back, guys. It is your boy Broncos Guru, and it's this week's episode of Boneheaded Boaters of the Week. Speaking of having a little fun around the boat ramp and dock, why don't we stay there and make that our first subject this week? Seems that you can always catch some great action around the dock. There's always somebody doing something just a little boneheaded or a little bit foolish. Sometimes it's accidental like we see here, but sometimes you'll have those guys that had just a little bit too much fun that day and like to carry that fun on into the dock and into the evening, kind of like this gentleman here.
Very nimble. Oh!
Maybe he's not quite as nimble as she thought. You know who else needs to be nimble around the docks? That's the infamous mail jumpers. That's this lady's job, to jump off this vessel, deliver the mail, and get back on the boat. Something else you need to be very cautious about when you're around the boat dock is where you dock your vessel, because if you dock in the wrong spot and it winds up being somebody else's slip, you never know what that captain's going to do to retaliate. Speaking of parking things in the wrong spot, it'll even happen at the boat ramp. People will park their vehicles anywhere, kind of like our Miami boat ramp crew here caught this past week over at the 79th Street boat ramp. While our crews down in Miami are dealing with a whole different kind of set of circumstances at the boat ramp, the people a little further north have their own issues at the boat ramp. But it's not quite the same as Miami, where things are still packed and busy. These ramps are empty, but they pose their own challenges for us trying to launch boats as well, which will make some people become a little bit inventive on the way they'll try and launch their boat during these times of the year. And this really will bring out the creative side of people. They'll start building their own ramps in their own backyard versus trying to go out there and fight down at the public boat ramp and have to deal with the headaches that come along with that. Sometimes at the dock, some of the boneheaded moves can be a little more self-inflicted. Maybe it's a little bit of lack of knowledge or just not being quite on the top of your game for whatever reason. And sometimes it can be truly self-inflicted to the point where maybe you forgot to do something, kind of like this crew here. We obviously can't be 100% sure, but I got a feeling these guys are probably missing a drain plug. Here they got a couple options in this situation. If it really is a drain plug situation, of course somebody can dive into the water, get that drain plug in, and hopefully this boat will be able to self-bail itself out with its own bilge pumps. But I don't see any bilge pumps coming out on this side. Next option they have is try and get this thing on the trailer, which is the option this crew is going with. They're going to do everything they can in their power to get this vessel up on the trailer as fast as they can and hopefully be able to get this water out of the vessel. Fortunately for this crew, they do wind up getting it on the trailer. After several attempts, they get it winched up and this boat does not flip over. Then there are those times at the dock where you get absolutely dumbfounded, where you think you're witnessing one of those moments where somebody said, "Hold my beer and watch this," only to figure out in the end that you're actually witnessing a docking pro putting her to bed. There was one major tell sign here though that should have given it away pretty early that this was a pro behind the helm, and that's the fact that they actually already had somebody with lines out up at the bow of the vessel. And then of course there are those times when you watch something at the dock and you think it should be a pro, kind of like here when you see a tractor trailer backing some jet skis down the ramp. In the back of your mind you gotta be thinking, man, nothing can go wrong here, and then you see this happen. Speaking of jet skis, why don't we go ahead and finish this session out with just a little bit of jet ski fun, because if you want to talk about that crew that always delivers on fun-loving content, that's them PWC boys and girls. You can always count on them to deliver us some laughs and a good time. They love to go out there and hoon it up with the best of them. They'll get everybody involved. It's not always just a solo sport on a jet ski. You can be just standing there on the dock and one of your buddies will come by and make sure you have a good time in the water as well. And then of course when you put two jet skis together, they always like to play and have a good time. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Boneheaded Boaters of the Week. If you ever catch anything crazy happening on your waterways, be sure to hit me up on Facebook or Instagram and let me know, and you might see your stories over here. Just like Nick Ayler, WA3RFE, Torben Tau Skydizard, and the Miami Boat Ramps channel did this week. And if you haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on that like and subscribe button. If not, we're coming to steal your drain plug.